All right, so today we're here with Mr. X. Mr. X is a student of ours at Energy-Cultivation.com, Reza's Qigong class, and Mr. X is such a phenomenal, telekinesis skill. He was able to demonstrate that one day at class, and we asked him to join us so that we can do an interview with him. But he wants to keep his, he doesn't want to reveal his name and stuff like that for personal reasons. So we're gonna just, not gonna reveal his name. So we'll call him Mr. X. But we will nonetheless interview him. And thank you so much for doing this interview for us, Mr. X. So, Mr. X, how did your telekinesis journey begin?
It began when I saw Guy Bavli on Superhuman Stan Lee show. I saw something on there, and that was able to strike my massive interest into it. I started just looking into it as much as I could, and eventually I came across Amen, and I've been in close contact with Johnny, the master of the Johnny method for the past 10 years. And I've seen great things from this, This on top of Falun Dafa has been my main practice.
Wow. Okay. So you practice Falun Dafa as well. I was unaware of that. It's so funny you say that because I've, right now at the moment, I'm making Falun Dafa my primary practice as well. So what got you into Falun Dafa? Pretty much just, the metaphysical superpower stuff. Is that what got you curious? And that's how you got, that's how you started Falun Dafa.
Yeah, that, and I'm massively into Chinese philosophies, just the whole martial arts stuff like that, aspect of, China. And that made me look into it, Falun Dafa, and I had, I was really just really into it. I was really into it.
Right on. Okay, that's awesome. So, how did your telekinesis practice begin? Like, did you start with a psi wheel? Did you start, practicing with like, ping pong balls, like you demonstrated and stuff like that? Like, what type of practice did you start out with?
I started off with the psi wheel, and I would use my hands, then until eventually I would use no hands. And after a while, I just really wanted to graduate to a higher level. And the ping pong was a level I was trying to graduate to, and I actually graduated to it live on class. Until that time, I hadn't really been able to move it, but I took a massive break on it, and I had started doing this stuff again due to Reza starting his class, and I had mainly focused on, stuff kind of scared me because I went through an experience where, I was with my mom at the time. I was living with her, and she was kind of ill, and I had a supernatural experience where, I was moving my hands like this, and saw multiple images of my hand. It was, and within this state, I was meditating in the grass at the end of this state. I was in this state for at least a cool hour, and within me being in the grass burned a circle around me. And after this experience, I took a photo of it. I showed my neighbor, and I was just stunned at what was possible. I was only trying to move objects with my mind, but I came to see that there's even supernatural states of the mind that can be accessed.
Wow, that's incredible. So, how many hours do you practice right now?
So I'm a martial artist.
Sorry to interrupt, but yeah, I should say, how many hours of like spiritual practice do you do? Do you do like meditation, qigong, or do you just do like what type of practices do you do right now?
So let me speak on that. So in the beginning, I used to practice quite often, maybe about an hour in the morning, an hour in the end of the day. And I used to even go to Barnes and Nobles and show off and move, pages in front of people.
Wow.
I'm not as good as seafood to where it can be on the bottom of the page completely flat and move it. But if it's just on some books, they don't, you can just, it's easier to move. But within that, I would go there and show off and leave the books, flat on the page, the ones that were easier to move. And after a time, I just said, you know what, I want to take time off my regular practice and work on practicing just mindfulness. So I started practicing just clearing my mind all day, every day, and that's the main practice that I think helps you. So I practice that all day, every day, just keeping my mind clear, eliminating all labels, like like a word for food, a word for you know how much work I have to do. I like to work every day. I'm a social media marketer,
Oh,
and and I try and work on my business every day. I'm not quite successful at it yet, but I try every day. And I think that the main thing with that is trying every day. And I'm also getting into, I'm a social media marketer for, well, I can't go too much into that. But the main thing is I try every day. And within that, I try and work on, just eliminating all those labels in my mind. And now I do martial arts every day. And I wasn't always doing martial arts every day. I've been a big martial artist for a long time. And within recently practicing it, I began to able to do it every day. I don't get sore. I work out every day, about 2 times every day. And within martial arts, I don't use music when I train or when I practice telekinesis. I just keep my mind clear. And when I practice telekinesis, I practice it until I can't go anymore. Much like lifting weights for me. So whenever I get done doing telekinesis and I know I can't do it anymore, I'll go and do my martial arts. And after I get done doing my martial arts, I'll tend to meditate. And this is a daily practice that I do. It's telekinesis, martial arts, meditation, and my martial arts consists of taekwondo and capoeira. I have a background in breakdancing. I've been breakdancing for about over a decade. I was taught by D-Boy Smurf, one of the best breakdancers in the world, well, to me at least.
that had to have been a pretty easy transition, right? Because Taekwondo requires a lot of leg dexterities and athleticism, and backflips and all that kind of stuff. So.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, I've been doing Taekwondo since I've been really young. I was a brown belt at a really young age, but we didn't have the money for me to stay into it, but I would always stay and do it on my own. So, I can spin twice in the air and do a kick. I'm really, acrobatic when it comes to my Taekwondo. And I mix that with my capoeira. And I believe that capoeira is kind of similar to Tai Chi. I do a lot of Tai Chi as well. I left that out. Falun Dafa and Tai Chi, they go hand in hand. With Falun Dafa, you just sit still in one position.
Right.
But with Tai Chi, I like to incorporate both of those things. I'm really just a huge fan of martial arts. So just Falun Dafa, Tai Chi, Fa Jin. A lot of people don't know about Fa Jin, but it's just explosive power from the art of Tai Chi.
Right. Right. Speaking of martial arts, we've obviously talked privately many times and stuff like that. You're a big UFC fan, MMA fan, stuff like that as well. And you're talking about getting into that eventually and stuff like that. What is your particular goal as far as that goes?
My goal is to test myself. I want to see, I never really honestly wanted to compete with my martial arts. It was just a way of life. It was something I've been doing since I've been at least 18, and eventually, I thought eventually people would always compliment me. They'd be like, yo, your kicks are so good. You're really balanced. How do you do that? You should test yourself. Do you fight? And eventually it got to my head, and I want to test my abilities. I want to see how great my Fa Jin and my reaction speed really is. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I really love combat, and I want to see how far I go. If I lose, I guess that'll be the end of it. If I win, huh?
Now, do you plan on just taking an amateur fight or a pro fight? I mean, I don't know the laws in LA, especially with COVID right now. I don't know what the laws are as far as venues and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You just plan on taking an amateur fight or a pro fight, or what is your?
I'm working on trying to find a nice area to train at where I can get some jujitsu in. I don't have ground game. Okay. I know a lot of judo, so and I don't think I'll be taken to the ground personally because I have really fast reaction speed. But still, under the case that someone does trick me, I would love to learn how to not be taken to the ground. So currently, I'm working on just trying to find a place for me to train and get my ground game ready for me to fight. And I'm gonna work on trying to get my first fight.
Right, I would definitely recommend that as well, because I mean I've done MMA. That's requisite for sure. Because if you will definitely get killed on the ground as soon as you get to the ground if you don't train there. So yeah.
Oh yeah.
But
I'll tap out. I'll tap out if someone gets me on the ground and I feel like I can't get out. I'm not gonna let my pretty face get hit.
Right. But
yeah.
But you know, you having the athleticism and the taekwondo base is definitely going to help you a lot. Because I mean, that like you being a dancer and stuff like that. I knew like dancer who transitioned to BJJ, and like he had a really I think he was like within 2.5 years of dedication. Like I think he was like one of the top BJJ guys in the world and stuff like that.
Oh yeah. I know what you're talking about. He was from
Eddie Bravo's system. I forgot. They're like brothers. I forgot the guy's name.
Yeah.
I forgot the guy's name off the top of my head.
Yeah, I know you're talking about though. Yeah, I used to be in the circles with him though and breakdancing.
Oh really?
Wow. Yeah, he would come.
What's his name?
Well, the thing is, see, a guy named B-Boy Smurf taught me how to breakdance. So, like, and he's really popular. So I'd always be around like a lot of those B-boys. I think he was from Circus. There I don't know. There is some breakdancing crew though called Circus something, and that's where he was from.
Okay. Yeah.
Circus Freaks.
Yeah, I don't follow BJJ as I used to at some. Right now, I just watch guys like Gordon Ryan and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
Donna Hart Squad. That's about it. But I don't really follow BJJ extensively.
Yeah.
But let's get back to 2K.
Get back on. Yeah.
Yeah, let's get back to 2K for a moment. So what is your goal with as far as telekinesis is concerned? Do you want to get to the point where you can levitate objects and stuff like that, levitate yourself? What do you want to do ultimately?
My goal for I want to see how far as I can go. I mean, honestly, I want to I tell myself anything is possible. I don't try and put any limits on anything. Whenever I go, I reach my hand for an object, I always, try and make it float towards me. I know it's goofy, but like I said, I no limits on it for me. I want to take it as far as I can go. I meditate every day. I keep my mind clear, and I keep a positive mindset for this thing. And I'm not upset if it doesn't work. I just stay level-headed and stay in the moment.
Yeah, interesting. Who's some of the telekinetics that you like to watch on YouTube or social media in general?
Okay, so Almond Johnny's always been one of my favorites to watch. One of the lit something on fire. That's always been a favorite qigong ability for me to want to cultivate one day. I currently don't get cold. I'm always I'm not able to project the energy out my body yet. But and this is before the whole Wim Hof thing was popular. I never ever was getting cold, and this is before I heard of Wim Hof. When people would say, "Do you do that?" They'd always stop by on the side of the road and ask me that, and I honestly had no clue who he was at the time. It was just a practice that I would do. From a combination of the Mo Pai thing. I would compress the energy into my stomach, and then I would expand it as it's pulsing my stomach throughout my body. That's the heating technique that I use.
Interesting. Okay. Cool. I mean,
Oh yeah, I did another favorite technique too. Grandmaster Wolf. That's like one of my favorite. And outside of his telekinesis things, I love his philosophies. Even if like the stuff was just not real and telekinesis is not possible, I would listen to that man based on just his philosophies and how he talks about just having your mind clear and not identifying with your bad emotions. Too often I feel like when you sit there and try and clear your mind, you realize just how childlike your mind is and how it wants to believe in this and be pulled this way and want to prove itself in so many different ways. And I never really realized how much I identify with something that's so easily manipulated.
Okay, okay. Yeah, no, certainly that Grandmaster Wolf is certainly a wise and a very popular character. Hopefully, I'll be able to interview him one day or have some kind of interaction with him. That'd be really cool. And he's definitely the most requested guest to be on the Energy Hangout series. So, I'm working on it, but yeah, hopefully I'll try to manifest that. So, yeah, yeah. But you know, Mr. X. So, you know, obviously we're both martial artists. We've been fan of martial arts and stuff like that. Kind of like, you talked about the ground game and stuff like that. Do you think martial arts will hit the point where, or I should say, reach the point where we start incorporating like energy skills and stuff like that? Like, obviously that, within the last 20 years, martial arts has evolved significantly. A lot of guys started incorporating BJJ to fight the stand-up guys, because back in the day it was all about stand-up, and now the ground game came about, and wrestling became very significant. And now you have to know it all. You have to just like be totally well-rounded and stuff like that. You have to eat right. You have to cut weight. You got to do all these things. Do you think the next phase of evolution, if you will, is like the energy stuff? Like, do you think we'll start seeing like guys like using Denmark and like, empty force and stuff like that in MMA? Like, what is your opinion on that?
I personally, there's some stuff that I want to try out, but there are some that you can see. I believe so. There's some people that want to try things out like I do. I personally have some energy moves that I want to try out. I don't have any energetic moves, but I have a move where I use my chi to lift me up, to really quickly. And I don't jump, but I use my energy to lift me up, and I can easily quickly be behind somebody. And I want to see, how effective it is in a real fight. I sparred with people before, people who are mostly, I'm 5'9", 200 pounds, 200 something, not 210, 205 around there. And most people I spar with are about taller than me, and I'm always able to use this move to quickly move past them and, and get to the side and have leverage to trip them on the floor or something like that. So if somebody else, if these moves are capable, just there have to be people who are willing to want to test themselves in real actual combat. Too often, too many masters actually don't want to test themselves. For too often, like I said, I didn't want to do that. I just never really cared to. I always felt like it'd be pointless. I always felt like I'd have a huge advantage over people. But I want to see if that's actually true. And
Wow. Yeah.
and I want to see, and I want to see if if other masters are out there, if I attract them to come and want to try, and it would be lovely to want to do that. But you already do see some people though incorporate some things. For example, people like when they get punched, they like tense their stomach, and try, and that's the portion of iron body. A lot of these fighters, you see them already practicing iron body, like Tony Ferguson. You see him punching, and kicking.
Right, he uses Wing Chun and stuff.
Yeah. He hits like the hard wood, the hard metals and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Definitely, people are starting to incorporate like some aspect. I mean, because a lot of fighters are doing Wim Hof now and stuff, and a lot of fighters are like started. I mean, like a lot of we see a lot of guys like at least meditating now and stuff. This is just my opinion. I honestly think the next phase of evolution of fighting is really, we're gonna get the power as soon as we clinch and stuff. Guys are gonna start using Denmark and stuff, and those guys are gonna, I think, start just killing people.
Yeah.
Kind of like Gracie used to just kill everybody because nobody knew, how to defend themselves on the ground and stuff. I think like, you're gonna have to get the point where you're gonna have to like start throwing a dainty in the fight, guys.
Yeah, it's funny
really
you say that. It's funny you say that, Ken. Well, it's too often I see people on the ground and I think, why don't they just like take their fingers and push it right into
I know. I don't know how to do that, but I'm thinking to myself.
Listen.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me show up a little bit. Okay, I can do these planches. You know what planche is? It's when you do a push up with like your hand. I'll show.
That's incredible.
See how I was lifting my stuff up in the air off my
Right,
fingers?
right.
Yeah, so I practice the hard finger stuff. I jab my fingers into things and I do those planches on my fingers so that, when I do need to push my finger into a finger point, it's very easy.
Cool, cool. I mean, like, I honestly think in maybe in like 50 to 100 years, like, people are literally, because like, you read some of the John Chambers like cost analysis and stuff like that. They talk about how they fight with like,
Yeah.
thunder and like all this kind of stuff. Like, I literally think like, the stuff that they do in like Dragon Ball Z and anime and stuff like that, like Yuri Baki, right? Like, the stuff that they do, that's how we're gonna start fighting for real. I think we're gonna get to that point, where we're gonna fight the maybe not to the death per se, but we're gonna start really using energy and stuff, and we're gonna look back at like, the Conor McGregors, like you said, guys like Tony Ferguson, the Nate Diaz, whatever, to say like, wow, these guys really knew nothing, and stuff. They may have like real physical skill sets that were amazing, but I think the energy stuff is how people are going to start really fighting in the future and stuff. And I think that's the phase of evolution that martial arts,
Yeah,
in my opinion.
definitely. I think for example, Kenshin Takikawa or whatever, the guy Ninshin Takikawa, the guy that fought Mayweather. When he targets people's pressure points. Tenshin Nasukawa.
Tenshin Nasukawa, yeah.
Yeah. He targets people's pressure points. Stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah. He'll throw kicks into people's kidneys and stuff like that, and their liver.
I didn't know that. I actually followed them pretty a lot because I'm from Japan, and the kickboxing scene in Japan is a lot more popular. I used to follow them pretty, a lot, but I haven't. I don't know what's going on with the whole thing.
Yeah. We'll probably see more body shots. Too often we see people only go for the head when a fight can be ended with a nice liver shot.
Oh, okay, yeah. And like, these punches and kicks and stuff like that too. I mean, like, I'm sure someone's gonna figure out a way to where like, the punches are people are gonna be throwing punches with the intention of like energy blasting or something.
Yeah.
People get to that point for sure. Yeah. So.
Yeah. You know what? That'd be amazing. I once saw a video in a group Facebook group. Some guy was in the jungle and he threw a punch, and some type of key force broke a brick.
Wow.
And it just amazed me. I don't try and say like what's real or not real, but it's, I try and say anything is possible. But if to see stuff like that would be amazing.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Like like you watch guys like Israel Adesanya, and like he's like an anime fan. And he's like gesturing, dancing to like Naruto moves and stuff like that. But man, like that guy is so skilled and talented. It's like if he wants to take himself to the next level, learn like real Dim Mak or Fajin or something. You know what I mean? Like, and like really pursue that. That guy can be like really an anime character. So yeah. So.
Yeah. I like that guy. He's really talented.
Yeah.
He's really talented. Yeah.
Yeah. Certainly. Yeah. So, we talked about martial arts. We talked about telekinesis and stuff like that. Do you perform any other metaphysical abilities, or like such as remote viewing, like lucid dreaming, astral projection, stuff like that? Or
I once one time I was walking outside of a mall, and I'm going to tell you an experience, but I was walking out of a mall, and this guy had headphones in. He was listening to some music or something like that. And this is when like I was in like a heightened state of mind, and I did I telekinetically said something to him. Like and he heard it, and he instantly turned around to me and said, "How did you do that?"
Telepathy, huh? That's awesome.
Yeah. That was a crazy experience to me. I often wonder how I did that, but it was so crazy. But You know, I can even say another time. Like I'm only gonna I'm gonna tell you some stuff. Like I was super into this stuff at this time. Okay, I don't. There's some things I did. I don't know how I did.
Mhm.
Now, one time my friend was we're at 25 Fitness. My friend was running on the treadmill. Now, this is an asshole thing to do. Now, I was with some dude, one of my other friends, and I said, "Hey, you see that guy right there? That's my friend. I'm gonna shut off that treadmill while he's on it." And I shut off the treadmill, man. First try.
Wow.
Like so, you know, like anything is possible. Like you can get to a point to where you just start doing crazy things. You know, like it's anything is possible. Well, you know, like I said, I was in a heightened state of mind where I was moving my hands like this, and I would see like multiple images of my hands moving. And within that state, I burned the grass around me. You know, you know how hard it is to burn green grass, like in a circle around. Okay, like, and it's not something that I tried. It must have been the aura around me that burnt the grass. You know, it's just anything is possible within this stuff.
That's amazing. Those are some phenomenal experiences. Yeah, yeah, that's amazing. Okay. Well, guys, Mr. X is actually getting ready to go to Coach Rez's class, so we'll soon wrap this up. Not to mention that Zoom's gonna, the 40-minute mark, approaching soon, so we'll probably wrap this up. Mr. X obviously doesn't have any social media presence or anything like that, so I would just, I guess, all I can say is check out Coach Rez's class. That's where, if you want to really get to know Mr. X, you can come to Coach Rez's class. There's a few people in there that are telekinetics that are really cool and stuff like that. And that class is going to continue to grow more people, more like-minded people and stuff like that as well. So it'll be really fun. So, well, thank you so much for doing this.
And I'm there every day.
Yeah, you're there every day. Yeah, thank you so much for doing this interview, Mr. X. You're just such a friendly, awesome guy, very knowledgeable, very dedicated, stuff like that. You always inspire me. So thank you so much for this interview.
Awesome, you inspire me too, Ken.
Yeah, thank you. Awesome.
All
right. Yeah. Yeah. So I'll see you in class in a little bit. So.
Yeah, see you there.
Okay. All right. Bye bye.